Alrighty then. Looks like I'm ready. Now, this piece of wood right here is going to be a sword. Now, because it's going to be a sword, it can't look like this. Hold on, let me sketch real quick. So I have flipped it over, sanded it. This is the other side. Flipped it over, sanded it, so it's smooth, so I won't get a splinter when I run my hand across it. And now we're going to sketch on it. Normally, I would like to measure out the middle first. However, I think I'll just mark it rough middle. Work from there. That actually looks like middle. Right there, that looks like middle. Huh. Interesting. So at the moment, you guys can already tell this is a sword, but it's actually from something. And it'll be quite apparent once I show you the drawing that accompanies this specific blade. So this piece of wood is a 52-inch piece of wood. And it comes up to about my collarbone. And this is going to be from blade to pommel down here. Can you guess what sword goes from blade to pommel in video games? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I am making the Warden sword from For Honor. Except I am making a Viking version. And this says Warden of Valhalla. This is going to be the first build video that I do among many others, so stay tuned and I'll give you guys updates. Peace. Well, it turns out, back by popular demand of one of my friends, that I should probably film the entire building of this weapon. So it looks like I'm going to be doing that. So this is part 2. So I've already defined the tip shape of the actual sword, at least in pencil. So I'm going to use this bad boy. And we're going to get to some work. Okay, so it has come to my immediate attention that I'm going to actually have to cut this out first, because it's going to be a pain, and it's going to be a real pain to not cut it out. So that's my mistake. I probably should have figured that out already. And mostly because the jigsaw blade is broken, I'm going to have to use a handsaw, so I'm not going to show you that, because that's going to take forever. Alright, first side cut. Gotta get onto this one now. Alrighty then, we have a big fucking problem. So I picked out this wood because of its length, but what I didn't expect is for it to split like this. So I have two choices. I can either glue it back up with wood glue and continue, or get another piece. I think I'm going to take the wood glue option. However, though, against my better judgment, I'm actually going to define the tip now. Now, I know this is probably an idiotic move. Trust me, I understand. However, it's a lot easier to do it now than to do it later. That's fun to take nails in this thing. Well, I've got some good news. Even though it is split, you can still see the split right here. Even though it is split, it did grind pretty well. Tip's pretty defined. it's a nice shape. Yeah, I think I'm going to continue with this. I think it's a good idea to continue using this piece of wood and just glue it up. So that's going to be the end of this video, because I don't have the time to do anything else. But hey, stick around for part 3. Welcome to part 3 of the Warden build. Now, as you can see, I've glued up that area that you saw last time that cracked. I've made sure that it goes all the way down and a tiny bit past the previous crack to keep it from splitting again. This is not a guarantee, but I'm at the very least hoping that it will help in the long run. Now, let's get straight into it. Alright, so I found a flood lamp. This is going to be a little bit easier. So this line right here is at the 11-inch mark. Now, from the study that I did, because I did a tiny bit of research before this, broadswords, or at least the German longsword that the Warden sword is made out of, usually have from a 6 to 11-inch handle. So this is marked at 11 inches because I want to be at the end of that threshold. So let's design the hilt. So I kind of want just like a rough sketch. I can change it later. It's not going to be all that hard to change it later. But I want kind of a rounded taper. So it's going to come out, gain a bit of thickness, and then come in to the guard. Obviously a rough sketch, as you can see, but in the grand scheme of things, I think I can improve on this. Alright, so I've kind of refined it. I've gone with this specific shape. I like the rounded off points that are going to add as a sort of grip. I know this probably isn't the proper way to make a handle, and this design probably isn't going to work. However, shut up. It's my drawing, and it's my creation. So there's nothing you can do. All joking aside, to be honest, I do think this design is going to work out good. It's got a tapered top, and it's got a nice curve to it, as well as place to hold. It's not going to be this small, obviously. It's not going to be this thin, but that is just the rough shape of what I'm going for. Sorry that this build is going slow. Now I'm going to grind off most of this. Alright, so this is one hell of a jump cut. Now, it is nighttime at the moment. So, what I've done so far is the entire fuller. I've done the fuller, made sure that the tang is prominent. It is about an 11-inch tang. I think it's a tiny bit longer, just to put in case of the guard, but hey, this is what I'm out to, so thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next parts. Here is part 4 of the Warden build. Now, as you can see, I have the template out for the guard. Now, I'm going to be cutting it out of this piece of wood right here. I don't remember what wood that was for. Well, I know what wood it was for. My friend wanted a... He wanted a gun. He wanted a gun made, a facsimile, to put in the back of his truck. That's no longer happening, but I'm still going to make the gun. If you guys want to see me make, or at least finish that build, let me know down in the comments. But in any case, I'm going to be using this to cut the guard out. I'm cutting it big just so I can get things going. So as you can see, I've gotten the rough shape out. This is the template I'm using. Now, as you can see, the piece of wood is considerably bigger than this part, and that's because I did not account for how big the actual blade was going to be. So it's going to sit nicely on the blade. I just have to now shape this. So let's get to that. Alright, so the guard is now shaped into its rough design. I've gotten them tapered out into this section out here. I think I might shorten this point to about here. I don't know yet, to like right about here, to make it a little bit more congruent, but this is just a rough shape. So I'll see you when I make any advancements. Alright, so again, I have messed up, unfortunately. So do you notice how in this section of the guard, right about there, this section right here, that it tapers into this point? It slowly goes down into that point without like actually shrinking, and then this point is higher than here on, and then this point right here is higher than this point on the guard. Well, I've made a rookie mistake and I have tapered it out. I have smoothed it out to this point. I was supposed to leave room up here so I could attach those points or even make them out of this solid piece. So I'm gonna have to fix it, but that's it for this video. Stay tuned for the next parts and I hope to see you there. So this is part 5 of the Warden build. After much consideration, this isn't gonna work. There's a lot of reasons for that. So for one, there's a balancing issue. Now, if you can see it, you can clearly see it, because I did a horrible job. One side is a lot more smooth in that arc up than the other, and this side is bigger than this side. Now, it would be an easy fix, except for one problem. If I fixed that, then I wouldn't have any room to play with, and I kind of would be screwed. So instead of that, I used the good side as a template on both sides, just flipped it over, and now we're going to be using this piece. I'm sorry to see this one go, but I don't exactly have an option. I hate this so much. Now, in some people's opinion, they will try to tell you that this looks no better. However, as you can see, if I lay these flat, yeah, it looks 1,000 times better, to be honest, because it's taller, it's got a little bit more clearance, and the point isn't all wonky. I haven't made the point yet, so I think this is a better outcome than before, if you want me to perfectly be honest. Now, while I figure out how to cut the guard into the shape that I want, here's a little trick about getting this fuller into your blade, especially if it's wood. So what you're going to want to do is, first you're going to want to mark out your fuller. You're going to want to make sure that you measure it and do everything. But when you get to this side, because this is all marked out, when you get to this side, you see how there's these cuts in here? I'm using an angle grinder with a flap disc. I think it's a 60 grit. And basically all you really need to do is just mark out that section you want to cut with that, and then go over it with some type of tool that'll gouge out this, kind of like this. This is just a bit of sandpaper on a spindle and in a corded drill, and then I just run it along here to make that fuller. I know this part was a bit weird. I had to redesign a few things, but hey, check out part 6. Hopefully, I'll make some significant progress. See you guys later. Alright, another part to the welding build. Let's get to it now. Last time you saw me cut in this groove with an angle grinder. Now, like I said, cutting in a groove with an angle grinder is important so you can outline the groove. Now, the reason why you want to outline the groove is this. See, right about there, Right about here is where it slips out of the groove because it's not deep enough. But as I was running along it, you can see it is freshly done, super smooth, and it gets rid of all those gouge marks, and that's why you outline it. So I'll cut back to when I'm done with this. And after a bit of grinding and a bit of using a rounded off sanding wheel, or a rounded off sanding bar, both fullers, both sides, are done. They're really rough, but I'm thinking of leaving them like that because not all fullers in, medieval times were, really pristine. And, funnily enough, this is going to be a battle-hardened and tested weapon. So, I don't expect it to look pristine. So, if you guys remember from the last part, this was the redone guard. So this is the guard that has been redone. This is the guard that has been, refitted. And as you can see, it now has the protrusions that are going to be on it on both sides. I'm going to start filing and more or less just trying to get it to its final width. So I'll show a tiny bit of that, but not too much. Alright, so here's what's been done for today. I have gotten not only the guard cut out, and not only the sword beveled on both, the sword fullered on both sides, but the guard is now starting to take shape. As you can see, there's a rounded point here that protrudes out. These are beveled up here. Not that this is going to be the final bevel, but this is rounded out. And now what I'm going to do is mark out where the tang is going to go through the entire guard. This is the rough estimate of where it's going to go in the guard and all the way through. But unfortunately, that is all the time I have for today, and I don't have drill bits. So this project might be on hold until I get drill bits. Sorry guys, but hey, keep an eye out for the next parts. Another day, another part of the Warden build. Now, this is a big-ass piece of wood. As you can see, it's pretty long. I'm not redoing the sword. Actually, today I'm going to be doing the handle. Now, because I don't have any drills, because I don't have any type of tool that will allow me to drill through pieces of wood, I do not have the ability to make the full handle or the full guard. I need to go out and buy drills. No, drill bits. So this part might be a little bit short. It's going to be just me cutting out the handle, gluing it up, and then shaping the guard. So let's get directly to it. Alright, so we got our first piece out, and we have our second. So let's glue these up. Now for my preferred wood glue, I usually use this stuff. Gorilla Glue. Not sponsored, I just like Gorilla Glue. It works well. So, with that being said, get my toolbox out of the way. Let's do this. Now, I'm going to use this side because it's got a whole bunch of holes on it, so let's just get to it. Uh-oh. Didn't realize you could pull that all the way off. This is gonna get messy. I want this to be nice and tight so that when I do get because I'm getting a lathe in, I don't know if I'm going to show you that footage because I don't know how working with a lathe is going to be, but when I do get a lathe, it doesn't just fly off and brick me in the mouth. Alright, now that all the immature ones have decided to say their jokes in the comments about what that looks like, you can see that it's all glued up, both sides, top and bottom, and now we're going to get on to the guard. Making the guard for this kind of stuff is important, so as you can see, I have actually outlined where each bevel is going to go. So there is a bevel going all the way over here, it's going to slope down, this is going to be the point where both of these meet, and this is just the overhang, so let's get to it. First section done. I actually did a little bit of marks on this section just to display where the name of the sword is going to go that you saw in the picture. And now I'm going to do this side over here. And for this, I'm literally just using a file to do this. That's it. That's all it is. And at the end of it, you'll have a beautiful piece like this. Nice rounded, nice sharp corners. But thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more parts. Another day, another part of the Warden build. Now, let me show you what I've done so far. I forgot I needed to record what I'm doing. So as you can see, there's been a lot of work done on the bevel. As you can see, this front end of the bevel is completely done. It's at the halfway point, just by eye. I'm going to be getting it down as close as I can to that halfway point. Keep going. I've got the bevel started all the way down, almost to the bottom. So we're going to continue that. And as you saw in the last video, this is what the guard looks like. Nice, beautiful cut lines. Just mwah, absolutely beautiful. So let's get into the rest of this. Alrighty then, as you can see, this entire section of the blade, even the tip, has been beautifully ground out. It's been smoothed over. I'll do some more finishing work, but it goes all the way down to this portion. Stops right at about where this portion is. So I'm going to now do the other side. Oh, one more thing. When you're doing bevels like this, you want to mark out your bevel. Hold on. So you can make tools for this kind of stuff. This is just a piece of angled. This is just like a right angled piece. But you see there's holes in it. So all I've done is place it on the edge, place a pen in here, and mark wherever I wanted my bevel the closest in. It's actually in this hole right here at the very, very top of it. So you just run it along and you get this. Here's progress on this bevel. Looks pretty nice. You can still see some scratch marks from the file. And now I just got to continue it all the way down. Alright, now the entire blade is beveled on both sides. It goes all the way to the tip sharp on both sides. And now the thing I'm going to have to do in the next part is get rid of all these cracks. Probably put some wood filler in it. But guess what I got? Your boy's got drill bits. So this will be hollowed out, roughed out, and finished probably in the next 2 parts. But thanks everybody for watching. Keep an eye out for the next parts. And have a good rest of your night. See ya. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another part of the Warden build. Now, a tiny bit of a disclaimer. The actions in this video can lead to serious bodily harm and possibly serious injury. Do not attempt anything in this video that I'm about to do right now. I'm being incredibly stupid. Do not follow in my footsteps. However, I got a drill. I've got an angle grinder with a flap disc. I have a semi-square piece of wood with a threaded drill shank screwed into it. And I have clamps. If you can't see where this is going, so as you can hear, started raining. So I'm going to stay outside, but I'm not going to be doing anything with power tools that can get wet. I'm probably going to be doing it on this table right here. So let's get to it. So on the list of things that I forgot to do, I forgot to mark out where the tang is going to be going through the entire thing. So now I've marked it out, and I'm going to start drilling from the other side to meet up with the holes on the bottom. Okay, so we've made some significant progress. We have This turned, I mean, it's somewhat circular. It's going to need to be a lot smaller than that, but I need a different setup because that setup is far too unstable. But as far as the blade goes, got everything smoothed out. I'm going to be flat grinding this with a grinder I get on my paycheck, so don't worry about that. It's going to be on Friday, though. But as far as the guard has been fully shaped, cut, roughed out. It's got that little step on the bottom on both sides, and it's got a hole through it. So it's just going to be a whole lot of grinding, a whole lot of filing to get the center of that hole to fit that. And as you can see, it doesn't quite fit over the edge yet, so it's going to be a whole lot of work for that. However, there is one problem, and it is I have to go to work, unfortunately. So I do have to go, but I want to show you guys something first. This is the next project I will be working on, and I might be doing it intermittently in between the parts of the sword build and this, but thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next parts, and as always, have a good rest of your day. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the double digits of the Warden build. We are now at part 10. Now, because it's part 10, of course I'm going to be doing more work, because I hate what I'm doing at the moment. So for those who don't know how swords work, swords, at least guards, everything that come in pieces, have a hole in the middle so that the tang can fit through. Now, the tang is this portion on the sword. It's that little bit right here that slides over it. Here's the problem. My tang, my tang doesn't go all the way down, and I have to use files to get it there. Anybody who makes a sword will tell you this is the worst part of the build, save for making another thing. So I'm not going to film me rounding this out and trying to get it on. I'm just going to film when I make progress, because screw that. I'm halfway there. See that? See that nighttime? That's how long I've been doing this. I filmed that other portion at about, like, 3:30. It's 7 now. Just to give you an idea on how ridiculous this is. But hey, look, I almost have it flush. You see how there's a gap right here. Let's see if I can push this off with one hand. I can't. But basically, I need to now cut into the guard so that this blade disappears into the guard so that it looks better. So I will continue to do this as long as the noise requirement in my neighborhood requires. By far, fitting is the worst part of any build. I mean, I've been at this, it's 8 now. It's been an hour. So, let me show you what I've done. So, do you remember that big block of wood that I said was going to be the handle? This is what's left of it. It actually is pretty good. It's got a nice grip. It's a little big, but I'm thinking that I'll start grinding away at it once I figure out if I'm going to leather wrap this or not. See, the guard from this side doesn't look too different. But when you turn it over this way, there's the groove that the blade will sit in for it to get down enough. And here's the ongoing problem. While it does go down, this space where that groove is, where the fuller isn't acceptable. I need to cover the fuller on both sides. Well, I went with a different option and decided to make the tang longer by cutting into the actual blade. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next parts. Peace. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everything in between, welcome to part 11 of the Warden build. Now, I made some advancements off camera. I'm sorry. I physically could not continue to, in good conscience, film me fitting the guard because that took too long, but hey. I may have made a mistake that's going to come to bite me in the ass later, but I made the tang a lot longer. The only problem is, you see those two cuts that are into the tang past where it's supposed to be? I'm hoping that doesn't cause a structural problem down the road while I'm swinging this thing and then suddenly the handle breaks off, because that's not fixable. I have to make a new blade. But anyways, let's get to it. I have a little trick for you guys. So if you mark something out on a piece of wood that you want to get rid of, don't get the eraser. Get sandpaper. Smooths out the piece of wood, and it gets rid of the line. You can still see it here, you can't see it here. There's a new mark, so we'll get to drilling. Uh-oh. It actually is technically fine. Alright, there's our 3 holes. They're not all centered, but that last one is right at the edge where I need to be, so that saves me a tiny bit of work. Anyways, I don't know what I'm going to do next, so I'll see you in the next part. There we go. So if you could see this, that small little curve, that is going to be the end product of what the handle is going to look like. It's going to be a nice gentle slope, and I think it's gonna look good. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry this is a lot shorter, but I gotta get to work. I started doing this a tiny bit late, so thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next part. Have a good rest of your day. Well, as you guys can or can't see until I do this, I just broke that. It fell off the table about that high and broke on the ground. So now I'm gonna have to glue this up. Problems. Alright. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you all you beautiful people for tuning in. I'll see you in the next part. Have a good rest of your day. What's up, guys? Welcome to part 12 of the Warden build. Now, as you can see, it is currently nighttime. Same day as part 11. Well, actually, technically, it's 17 minutes into the next day. But as you can see, I've done a lot of work. I've got the handle pretty heavily shaped out. And hopefully, in the morning, I'll get this thing fully done. And jump cut. Well, it's not exactly morning. However, here's what I've got. It's smoothed over, rounded out. And if you can see, partial the way down, there's kind of a bow out. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to see if I can make that a tiny bit more pronounced, and then we'll get on to the rest of the build. Alright, so after much consideration, I actually will not be making this any bigger due to the fact that I want at least some structural integrity on the handle. So let me get drilling out the other side. Okay, 2 problems. 1, my drill shank is not long enough to go through this entire piece of wood, and this. An accidental bite on the side has costed me a hole in the side, so I guess I will be leather wrapping this thing after all. So as you can see, I did a quick fix. This is just some sawdust and wood glue. It works really well. I even tried to cover up this portion up here, but I didn't have enough. However, I did do the inside right here, so hopefully all of this will be dry in the morning, because it takes a while to dry. And I think I'm done with this portion, so I'm going to move on to the guard. So you can kind of see the remnants of the guard being glued, but it's seamless here. You can see it right there. Pretty much seamless. It's not really too noticeable, and especially when I grind on it, it's not going to be too noticeable. So I'm going to shape up this guard a little bit more. Okay, to you guys, this might not look like much of a difference, but now it is far more pronounced. The bottom portion is done, all smoothed out and flattened out at the bottom. Other side's done as well. And now we're going to do a test fit on the blade. Here's that test fit. I think that looks good, guys. Nice and fleshed out. When it's pressed up here, I like that look. like that look a lot. So this is how it'll fit, except it needs a tiny little space right here. But that is all the time I have for today. Sorry if this video was kind of a little bit scattered, but it was a lot of repairs that I had to do. But thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you in the next parts. What's up, guys? Welcome to the next part of the Warden build. Now, as you can see, I have the piece of paper in front of me that has the depiction of the guard. I now have the guard in front of me with the parts I'm going to need to cut out on it. So, I'm going to take some files, I'm going to take a Dremel, I'm going to get that cut out. See you when I get that done. So I don't want to mess this up, so I'm just using a chisel to gently outline the edge. Now, you can kind of see it right here. Just basically sticking the chisel in and working it back and forth to get that straight line. Then I'll cut back on the other side, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Now, I do like that. However, I think I'm going to go over it with a small file and see if I can get it to look just a tiny bit neater. And holy jump cut. Now, there is the entire design done. It's all marked out. I messed up in a few places. You can definitely tell what those places are, but I'm going to fix those with a bit of paint. But as you can see, every single part is now cut out, at least on one side. There's the design at the top, and now I've got to do it on this side. Just to show you a tiny bit of the process, you take a chisel, make sure you put it right at the edge of the piece with the flat portion facing outward, the beveled portion facing inward, and make a mark. Follow that mark all the way down so it makes a cut into it. Once that is done, you should be left with a fully outlined piece. And then carefully, using your leverage, remove the small pieces so that they create a space. Once you have this rough pocket, you then are going to remove it with the chisel more until it looks semi-decent. It's a tiny bit cleaner, and just repeat that for every other letter. Alright, this side is done now, and I'm going to face grind it really quick, just to bring out things. As you guys can see, the design is completely done on both sides. It's looking nice and good, but that is going to be it. The next portion of this build is me painting and getting everything fit. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next parts, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Welcome to the next part of the Warden build. Now, as you can see, in the last part, we got this all nice and done. Every single part of the chiseling has been finished, and now it's on to painting, so we'll get right into that. However, the first thing that we do before we start painting is that we start sanding. This is 220 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to go over the entire thing. It's not going to make any difference, it's just going to make it smoother so the paint sticks a little bit better and has much smoother of a finish. Now, when I tell you that this metallic finish from Rust-Oleum looks good, I'm not joking when I say this stuff makes it look shiny. However, I made a mistake and I need primer, so let's go head to Michael's and go get some. So, unfortunately, Michael's didn't have the paint I was looking for, so shout out to Walmart for having flat gray primer. But also fuck Walmart for many, many things, including screwing me out of a job and blaming me for getting hurt on the job and firing me for it, but we're not talking about that right now. However, what we are talking about is how this is a piece of wood and it looks like copper or brass. I mean, look how beautifully reflective that is. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the guard. I took the liberty of putting in silver highlights. So now the entire guard, both sides, have silver highlights right on the chisel marks. And might I add, the reflectiveness of this stuff, you can see my finger in it. That's ridiculous. Also, as you can see on here, there are patches of wood filler, or makeshift wood filler that I've made to patch up all of the cracks and crevices on the blade. So, in the next part, considering it is too late in the night and I don't really want to hand sand and I have a sander, I'm going to be grinding those away and then painting the entire blade. So for now, let's get working on a pommel design because I'm going to need one. However, can we take a second to admire how beautiful this looks? I mean, come on now. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for today. Now, I wanted to show you the design of the pommel, but then I got to thinking, what if I didn't and left it as a secret? So I think I'm going to do that. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I love to see all you beautiful people here. See you in the next part. Have a good rest of your day. And adios. Welcome to the next part of the Warden build. Now, this is going to get sanded because this is going to get painted today. You can see how I've already started on it. You can see the lighter area versus the darker area. I'm going to get straight into it. Just finishing up now. Most of the stuff, you can see that most of the dark stuff, there are some patches still here and there. But most of the dark stuff is gone, as you can see. And now it's more just face grinding it, making sure it looks good. But I've got to do a part in the fuller, so let's get into that. Alright, now that everything's ground down, it's in its bare form, I'm going to get to painting. And hopefully it looks good. I have no idea, but I hope it does. Yesterday, I showed you guys how to get a really smooth painting surface. So I sanded it down yesterday, but today I did something a little bit different. When you spray it and you let it dry for a little bit, you take a rag, wipe it down so that the high spots are up, and then you sand it so that it has a uniform grit, and then you go over it with some paint. So we will see how this side does over this side, which I did sand beforehand. Okay, so like, I've gotten the blade done. It's painted. But I don't think any of y'all are ready for this. I don't think any of y'all are ready for this. Like I said, I don't think you guys are ready for this thing. Like, come on, bro. Look at it. Clean. It's so clean. Just wait till I put this thing on it. But you guys aren't going to see that today because I want to get some other things done. So thank you for watching this part. I greatly appreciate you guys for watching these. And until the next time, have a good rest of your day. Make sure you stay hydrated. And I'll see you guys in the next part. Adios. Welcome to the next part of the Warden build. Now, today I fucked up. Do you see that little hole right there? That's a hole I had to patch. This is what the inside looks like. It's all fucked up and a mess. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not using this piece of wood. Instead, I'm gonna use this piece of wood. And it's got more thickness than that piece does. So, I'm gonna face this, cut it out, and we're gonna re-drill it. Alright, so here's the old handle. I'm going to now mark out where this goes. Just some quick lines just to get an idea of where things are. These are the marks. Now I'm going to get to cutting. There we go. All cut out. Now we're going to get to shaping. So I'm going to take a page out of my last book, and instead of shaping the handle first, we're going to drill it out first. This is the drill bit I'm going to use. It's a lot longer than all my other ones, and as we all know, size matters. Alright, so I did a whole bunch of work. Well, that's my neighbor. I did a whole bunch of work on this thing. Unfortunately, I popped through on this side again, but unlike this one, with this space, I don't think I'm going to be covering this up for one specific reason, and that's because it fits really, really well. This one didn't fit at all. This one didn't fall. This one, with this nice bow-in design, this one fits extremely well. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Now, as you can see right there, there's an arrow right on that section, and on this piece of wood there's also an arrow to coincide in which side that it goes on. And now that both of these are on there, you'll have a nice smooth set pressed all the way down. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Warden of Valhalla is almost done. Okay, this is my dilemma. This is a pommel from a different sword. It's broken. I'm using it for nothing, and I want to see if I can use it for the Warden of Valhalla. However, I want to be able to use an original piece, so let me know in the comments what you guys think. But that's it for this video. In the next 2 parts, we should have this done, and then you'll get some hero shots of it. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate all of you guys. I'll see you in the next parts. Have a good day. Hey guys, how are you doing? This clip, this little section is from the future, so I just want to say welcome to the finale of the Warden build. The Warden of Valhalla has been finished, and honestly, this was kind of a wild ride. One of the fastest builds I've ever done, one of the bigger builds I've ever done, actually. And the fact that I got it done so quick means that with eyes on me and making content for you guys, I can get things done very quickly. So I wanted to say thank you. You guys constantly gave me the strength, courage, that kind of stuff to keep going, even though I wanted to quit sometimes. So we'll get right into the build, and then for this build, I'll have to say goodbye. But this won't be the last one I do on this channel. So with this piece right here, all I'm doing is twine wrapping. You see that there's a twine wrapping at the top right where it's going to connect. So from this point on, it's going to be twine wrapped. So I'll show you what that looks like at the end. It very much just is pulling the twine tight as you wrap it around. And just doing this basically. Making sure everything is tight when you wind it, and then I'm going to go pretty far down, so I'll show you what that looks like. Now that you got all that stuff on tight, you want to take your super glue, put a dot up here, and then put a dot at the end of the rope, put a dot on the spine, then rub it all in. And at the end of it, this is what a twine wrap gets you. You'll see why that's important in a second. This is the piece of black faux leather I'm going to put on it, so I'll show you when that's done. At the end of it, ladies and gentlemen, this is what it looks like. This is the wrap. This is what my end product, end goal looks like. And now, the sword. And now, the Warden of Valhalla. Now guys, this is just gorgeous. I mean, look how it catches the light. Everything just looks so nice and clean. I'd like to thank you guys for helping me make this thing a reality. Like, honestly guys, thank you so much. You have no idea how much this means to me. And unfortunately, this is the finale of this build. So, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next build. Have a wonderful day.